This is the SAU Report, a program featuring interviews with the faculty, staff, students, and alumni of Southern Arkansas University in Magnolia.
Welcome to the SAU Report. I'm Lisa Stegall, and today I'm talking with SAU alumni Lois Gean Kelly and Ray Sullivent. They're both SAU alumni and prominent business owners in the Southern Arkansas community of Magnolia. I wanted to speak with them about their businesses, their education, and the Magnolia area. Thank you both for joining me here today.
Nice to be here.
Lois Gean, I know that you were a teacher before you, and also you worked at First National Bank before you opened Lois Gean's Dress Shop. How did you make that transition from being a teacher all the way up to opening your own business?
Well, I came from a family of teachers, and I thought when I started to school out here that I had to be a teacher too. So I majored in education, and then I taught in the primary grades. And the first job that I had teaching, I signed a contract on Saturday afternoon, and my pay was $40 a month, and that was for 6 months out of the year. And then the next year I got a raise. I was raised to $52 a month, and I took care of a family on that salary, and so I stayed with it for 4 years, really enjoyed it, but I was so young when I started teaching that, and I had to, my life just really was not my own out in the country. They wanted my services 24 hours a day, and that meant weekends too. So I just sort of felt that life was passing me by. And in the meantime, I had been working at the bank on Saturdays, and they offered me a job. So I just left school teaching and went to work there. So I was there for 10 years. Loved every minute of it. They had 5 employees at the time, and I think the assets were like, they had on deposit, I think it was about $750,000. And now they have a total of maybe 130 employees. And I don't really know what their assets are, but it's a lot more than $750,000. And I stayed there for 10 years and felt that life was just sort of passing me by, because I'd trained the boys during war years, and then when they'd come home, they'd step right over me and make twice the salary that I was getting. So I decided that I would take my little nest egg and open a shop of my own. So that's how the dress shop came to be.
Oh.
It really was not a dress shop when I started. It was a little gift shop.
Right.
And it just gradually evolved into a dress shop.
So you carried, was it greeting cards when you first did?
Greeting cards and a smattering of books, like classics that I thought people would really want to own. But I discovered real fast that you couldn't make a living selling books. People didn't read that much.
Mr. Sullivent, you act as the general manager and owner of the Magnolia Bed and Breakfast, as well as Best Western Coachman's Inn, Coachman's Limousine Service, and Coachman's RV Park. You're also an SAU graduate. What is it that you majored in?
Actually, I majored in business and minored in mathematics. I geared my studies towards industrial management, but later found out that I was more of a people person, and industry just really wasn't for me. And so I left industry after a while and got into the real estate business, where I was interacting with people more often. And then that led me into the hospitality business where I am today.
I see. Lois Gean, you also graduated from Southern Arkansas University. It wasn't SAU at the time, though. It was Magnolia A&M. Is that right? What was it that you majored in?
Education.
Education. So when you opened your store, did you go back to school for any kind of business courses, or did you?
Well, I had a business course before I opened it, but I did that, I got that during the summer months when I was teaching. So I did have a business course.
So you've more or less done it all on your own. You've just kind of had a head for your knowing what you wanted to do. You didn't.
Well, I've always loved clothes from the time that I was a little bitty girl until, and I always did the shopping for our family. We had 8 children, and there were 4 girls, and I loved to do the shopping. So it just seemed a sort of natural route for me to take. And somehow or other, I stuck with it a while. We just celebrated our 50th anniversary.
That's right, you did. You have customers that come to your shop from all over the United States. What is that like?
Oh, it's wonderful. That's what keeps me in it. You meet such interesting people. And most of the time, our customers are repeat customers. Like, for instance, a week or so ago, I had a customer from Carmel, California, and she shopped with us, and she went home, and a week later, I had a telephone call from her. We knew her size, we knew what she wore and what she liked, and she had a special occasion, she needed a dress. So we sent it to her, and she called back and was delighted with what we had sent. So that's what makes it interesting and worthwhile.
So you really get to know your customers.
They become our friends. They aren't just customers.
Right, that's good. Mr. Sullivent, what first gave you the idea of having a mural done here?
Well, I was studying one day, and a lot of our history was sort of slipping away from us. And we don't have a museum, and we don't have a historical society. So I thought it'd be a good medium to reflect and show people our history of Magnolia and Columbia County in the murals. But also we were trying to create a great piece of art and a tourism attraction and part of a beautification, for Magnolia to attract people to our downtown.
What made you decide on Alan Wiley to do it?
Well, he's one of the top mural artists in the world, and he has a master's degree in mural art and mosaics from the University of Glasgow, Scotland. And we had reviewed his work and saw that it was first class, and we felt like that if we could get him to come to Magnolia, we'd have a great mural.
Let's see.
Not just one, we have a lot of them now.
We do.
They're beautiful.
What was it like having Charleston Heston come and sign the mural?
Well, that's probably one of a lifetime things that happened, and it was great. And we feel like we have the world's only mural signed by Charleston Heston. Who else can make that claim? And we think that's quite a coup in itself.
Right. Mr. Sullivent, what are some things that people in college should consider when they are thinking that they might want to own their own business? Are there any drawbacks that you can think of?
Well, there's several drawbacks. There's a lot of risk involved, and so you have to have that spirit about you and the persistence and perseverance to make it work, because it all comes down to you. The buck stops here. And your business is what you make of it. And it takes a lot of hard work. And so it's not a 9-to-5 job, like you're working for someone else. I tell folks I only work a half a day, but it's depending on which 12 hours a day I want to work. But the most important thing is, I think being in business for yourself is doing something that you enjoy. You don't do it for the money necessarily. You do it because that's what you enjoy doing, and then the money comes.
Mrs. Kelly, I could ask you the same thing. What are some drawbacks that you've seen trying to own your own business? I think it's probably been a bigger struggle for you at the time that you started it than than it has been for some people these days?
Well, when I first started, it was also new to me, and I'd meet people on the street and they'd say, "Well, how's business today?" Well, I took that as a personal affront, because they seemed to feel, that maybe I wasn't going to make it. And so it was a real challenge to try to get it started and to feel. But I guess I wanted it so bad. Well, it was necessary, because I was a breadwinner for my family, and it had to go. So through the years, the worry about whether you were going to be able to pay your bills on the first of the month, and then sometimes you get some difficult people to deal with, particularly vendors, and you have to learn to get along with them. And so every day is an education. You never stop learning.
Mr. Sullivent, the Magnolia Bed and Breakfast has been featured in Southern Living as well as in other articles. What does it take to create a place that people will want to come to in a town such as Magnolia?
Well, you got to provide a unique service. And of course, I'm in the same business as Lois Gean. That's the people business. Mm-hmm. And some of her customers are my customers. And so Lois Gean and I have worked together. And you can have a beautiful place in Magnolia, but they're interested in where's a good place to eat, where's a good place to shop. And so Lois Gean and I and the other businesses in town try to promote each other and our businesses, because that's important to people coming to town on having other things to see and do. And so we feel like we're providing a service for Magnolia at Magnolia Place, something unique, and also it's like coming back home. Some of our customers are, like Lois Gean said, family, and they become a repeat customer, and we're hoping that we're providing a excellent service there that they enjoy, and the ambiance and all of that makes them want to come back.
So do you believe it was your customer relations that is keeping you successful in your business?
Well, the service. Mm-hmm. A lot of businesses have gotten away from what I call good customer service, and they're just in there for the buck. Well, people can really pick up on that in a hurry. We try to provide good service at a good price, so the value is there. And if people see the value is there, then they don't mind paying the price. So we feel like we're providing a good service and good value.
Mr. Sullivent, the travel, tourism, and hotel industry seem to go hand in hand. You mentioned the murals as a way of involving Magnolia and the tourism industry. How else are you involved with that?
Well, there's an organization region-wise called Arkansas South Tourism Association that I'm involved in. And then, of course, I'm involved with the state Department of Parks and Tourism. And so you do it on a local basis, a regional basis, as well as a statewide. And of course, we even have a tourism committee of the Chamber of Commerce that we work on. So there's different aspects of it that hopefully bring people through Magnolia or to Magnolia.
Lois Gean, are you involved in promoting the travel and tourism industry in Magnolia at all?
Only in as much as I'm the recipient of Ray's hospitality and his know-how as far as tourism is concerned, and he's been so cooperative with our business in steering his people to our shop, and it's been a nice relationship.
I see. Mr. Sullivent, you graduated from Bearden High School. Then you went on to SAU here in Magnolia. Did you always know that you wanted to stay here in South Arkansas?
Well, actually, I didn't. I left school here in 1967 and actually lived in Texas for 20 years. But I had roots here in Magnolia, and when the opportunity came up to purchase the hotel here, I took advantage of it because it was sort of like coming back home. I still knew a lot of people here as far as my instructors at the university, and I was closer to family. So it wasn't like coming back to a strange place. And I was very well accepted because Magnolia is such a friendly community, and very accepting and very giving. And so I felt very comfortable here, and I've got great support from the community, you know, in my 10 years of having the hotel.
Lois Gean, did you ever feel that in a town as traditional as Magnolia, it would be difficult for you because you're a woman opening up your own dress shop and because that your shop is not just an ordinary dress shop?
I don't know that I ever felt that that it was particularly a problem as far as a woman is concerned, because it was a natural to step into the fashion business when you love it so much. And so I don't think it's really been the main problem that I had with being a woman was when I was employed by someone else, and women were not accepted in the business world in those days. And of course that's one of the reasons that Lois Gean's came to be.
Mr. Sullivent, is the hotel different from Miss Kelly's shop in being less changeable? And when I say that, I mean that the fashion industry changes from season to season, but the product that you have, so to speak, is always going to be the same.
It's really not, Lisa, because as technology changes, then I have to keep up with that. For instance, I'm in the process of creating a business traveler's room right now, because I have customers now that are traveling with laptop computers, and I've got to provide a service in that room that they can use a laptop computer, which means a data port, a desk, the proper lighting, and so of course I have different customers. I even have rooms that's geared towards the ladies. I call them my ladies executive rooms. And those rooms, for instance, have a full-length mirror and a hair dryer and the makeup mirror. And so you sort of got to customize your room towards your customer base and meet those needs. So you can't have just the same product all the time. You've got to change with the times and the technology and the wants and needs of your customer and be in tune with those needs.
Yeah, that's something I've never really thought about, is all the hotels I've ever stayed in, that they actually kind of customize their rooms to meet the needs of their clients. Miss Kelly, where's the farthest that you know of that a customer has traveled to come to your store?
Germany.
Germany?
Mm-hmm.
Now, did they come here specifically to shop at Lois Gean's?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Well, they were in the States, but they had been customers of mine before they moved to Germany. So when they came back to the States, then they came back to shop with us.
Wow, that's fascinating. And you get that a lot. You get a lot of repeat
Well,
customers.
that's not an everyday experience, but frequently. For the most part, our customers are within a 250-mile radius.
Lois Gean, do you feel that business owners and the community itself benefits from involvement in clubs such as the Rotary Club?
Oh, indeed, indeed. If for nothing else, the self-satisfaction that you get out of it, for feeling that you're doing something worthwhile. So I think it's almost a necessity that you be involved in clubs.
Now, this is a service club. Y'all provide things for the community and individuals on a needed basis. Is that right?
Right. I think Ray can probably give you that information better than I.
Well, the Rotary Club, you know, is the largest civic club in Magnolia, and we feel like we provide a lot of services for the community. We support the Boys and Girls Club. We try to support the needy around Christmas time. scholarships. We've helped fund students to go abroad for an exchange student program. We're a worldwide organization. We've supported trying to eradicate polio around the world. So we do a lot of good things for the local community as well as the world at large.
Now, how is it that you become involved in the Rotary Club?
Well, you have to be invited to join the Rotary Club, and they require different classifications of different business to be represented at the Rotary. And so I've been a member of Rotary about 8 years now. And it's great fellowship because you meet different people there that you don't see every day. And matter of fact, we had Rotary today at noon, and you get to visit with other people and find out what's going on and do a little networking. But it's great fellowship.
He failed to mention that at one point they didn't allow women to belong. It was a man's organization. So women have only been admitted in the past 5 years here.
Wow.
So it's a new experience for women.
Now, were you the first woman that they admitted?
I was one. Jennifer and I were the first ones in, and we're still a minority. There are such few of us. I guess 10? Maybe would there be about 10 women who belong to Rotary? So it's flattering to be accepted as one of the boys.
Are you involved in any other business organizations here in Magnolia?
Well, I have been through the years. At the present time, I'm not really involved in anything except to support existing organizations.
Right.
Boys and Girls Club and the Symphony and Children's Hospital and that sort of thing.
What about you, Mr. Sullivent? Are you involved in any other business organizations?
Well, I'm involved with the Chamber of Commerce. I'm on that board. And of course, one of my passions is we've created an organization called Magnolia Murals Incorporated, which is a nonprofit organization, which I'm the executive director of. But there's a lot of folks that's helping me there, because we now have a board of about 15 people. And I feel like you have to concentrate on those areas that you have a passion for and that you enjoy doing. And it's a way of giving back to the community.
When people come to Magnolia, Lois Gean, what do you want them to remember about the town and about your business?
The friendliness and the fact that we have great shops in Magnolia. Mine isn't the only one there. It's just one of many unique and interesting places to shop.
What about you, Mr. Sullivent?
I think people, especially if you study your demographics, the baby boomers now are looking for small town America. They're wanting to get out of Dallas and Houston and come to a small town and sort of go back to their roots. And we have all the ingredients here in Magnolia for that, with the neat shopping, the mom and pop shops like Lois Gean's, and the mom and pop eateries like George's Restaurant and Miller's Cafeteria. But as Lois Gean said, the friendliness and you go into these shops and you're spoken to and just well received. And those folks that are coming here, they enjoy that. They feel like they're welcome and accepted, and that's very important.
Miss Lois Gean, we're at the end of another year, close to the end of a decade. How have you seen Magnolia change in the past 10 years?
Drastically. It has grown. And downtown has had a facelift, mainly because of Main Street. That has helped a great deal. I think it's one of the most attractive little towns around. And that's all happened in such a short time.
Mm-hmm. We do have a nice downtown for the size of it. Well, thank you very much for joining me today. We're running out of time, but I'm Lisa Stegall for the SAU Report, and my guests have been Ray Sullivent and Lois Gean. Thanks for watching.
The SAU Report is a production of broadcast journalism students in the Department of Theater and Mass Communication at Southern Arkansas University in Magnolia.